Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the West Ham Massive. As I always ask you, a little bit of housekeeping I like to get out of the way. Please don't forget to like, comment on and share this stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're new around here. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts of new content. All these things are free to do. Take you a couple of seconds. A bit like my sex life. Don't tell the wife I said that. Thank you very much indeed for your support, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to discuss the small matter of the Premier League. It's about to start. It's a couple of days away. The anticipation's been building. I've got with me Nick from Claret and Booze to discuss things. Nick, how are you doing?
I've been better. I'm a bit under the weather, Gatesy. I'm a bit under the weather, but I'm going to battle through. Don't you worry. We've got what we got now. Is it two more sleeps? 2 more sleeps until
it's like Christmas, isn't
until
it?
football starts again.
It's brilliant.
I know.
and hopefully, Nick, it will be what you and I would interpret as football and not what went before, which wasn't.
I'm not expecting anything. I'm not expecting anything massive on the first game. My expectations are pretty low at the moment. Players came in quite late, didn't they?
Yeah.
Players came in quite late. So in terms of that, you know. Although we'll talk about the game after, but I do quite fancy us. You know, I do quite fancy us in it.
What was your thoughts? I mean, obviously we ended the season, and I think you and I are both on the same page that Mr. Moyes, thanks very much for what you did in Prague, but do you know what? Everything has its time, and yours was up, and you needed to go. And obviously, a new broom sweeps clean. What was your first thoughts when it was announced that it was going to be Julien Lopetegui that was going to take over from the previous incumbent?
Well, my initial reaction wasn't great because I had my heart set on Amorim. I was pretty negative around it. Well, I'm going to be honest. I was quite negative around the whole thing, to be quite honest. And it was purely because I'm like a big child, and I had my heart set on Amorim. And there was a lot of stories going around that a lot of us kind of digested about how, you know, well, they're not stories, they're factual, about how he walked out on Wolves. And I didn't really give the guy enough of a chance, really. I think what it is, people were just looking at it like, oh, we've gone for the cheap option again. But that's not the case. It's not cheap. It comes with an entourage of people. I think God knows how much it costs to pay that team, you know?
Yeah, fair chunk.
So I'm so I wasn't happy, but I am happy now. I've more than warmed to Lopetegui from the moment that I heard him speak, particularly that opening press conference with Tim. That was different class, wasn't it? That really made you feel warm and fuzzy. That did. You know, they said all the right things, and they've gone on to deliver and do all the right things. That's what I mean. We'll talk about the players that have come in, but it's far exceeded all of our expectations, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if I had anybody that I had in mind realistically, Nick. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, Amorim's name was mentioned, and I was like, yeah, okay, he'd be a decent shout. But fundamentally, I just wanted someone that was going to play football that didn't send me to sleep. That's all. That was basically my baseline. Yeah. That was my baseline. If you don't send me to sleep, and for anybody that doesn't know the story, in the Sheffield United game last season, the home game, we're 2-0 up, and in the second half, I kid you not, I was nodding off. Now, that really was the moment where I went, something's wrong here. That should not be happening. We're playing a ranked bottom of the table team at home, and here I am, and I'm nodding off. I was like, this is not right.
mate, it was torture to watch it. Look, the few games that I went to last season, I went to quite a few away. I went to a couple at home, but not many. I enjoyed it more going to the game than what I did watching on telly, because at least then you've got the day out, and it was unbearable to be an armchair supporter was unbearable last year. It was zero entertainment. We did score some great goals because we've got some great players. So absolutely, we've all seen the show reels of Mohamed Kudus. I've forgot most of them goals that he scored. The overhead kick against City and the solo efforts and everything else. There've been some great goals and great moments in the season, but that's it. The rest of it's been absolute just gash. Let's face it. It's been awful. So I just wanted to change. And we've got that. My God, have we got to change? That squad has been demoised. Not completely, because there's still some players that have got to be shifted out.
Yeah.
But in terms of what that first team will become, it's been demoised. Regardless who starts tomorrow, because I think quite a few players are probably being shop windowed. The likes of Souček, because they're trying to ship them out. So, do you see Souček having any place in this team?
Short term, yes. Long term, no. I think that I personally, my opinion on Souček is I think that one of he or James Ward-Prowse won't be here once this transfer window shuts, I believe. Personally, I think that, and they've got different skill sets. They're not sort of like anything comparable in terms of their skill set at all. But I think on balance, I think I'd probably be happier keeping Thomas Souček than James Ward-Prowse. For me, I think James Ward-Prowse is a bit of a one-trick pony. And unfortunately, the one trick that he's got since he's been in a claret and blue shirt hasn't worked terribly well.
No, his trick isn't that. It's not that great. I've got to be honest. If I hear one more time when we get a set piece, the commentator mentioned David Beckham's record. I think that's what's killed him. I don't think he's ever going to score again from a set piece. He won't.
It will probably happen though, mate. I reckon he'll go to Southampton.
I think he should. He should go back there. But have they got a place from now? I mean, they've got Flynn Downs. Because I would rather play Flynn Downs than James Ward-Prowse. I'm not a fan. I'm not. I think he's a very technically proficient player. He's technically proficient. He's not. For instance, Souček is not. He can't pass the ball 5 yards. But James Ward-Prowse can. But the position that he occupies in the team, he hasn't got enough presence. I've always thought that about him. He doesn't have enough presence. He covers a lot of ground, but I think he just kind of shadows play. He has had a couple of good games. I mean, if you go back to that kind of first half against Leverkusen where we played well, he was pressing high. So that's the thing, maybe. John mentioned it on his show a little while ago. He said when James Ward-Prowse came in, he was brilliant. He was a revelation initially. We thought, bloody hell. I came out and went, I was wrong. I was wrong about James Ward-Prowse. And then David Moyes seemed to clip his wings, Gatesy. He clipped his wings. He pulled him back. And I don't know whether it was Moyes, but he had a tendency to do that, didn't he, to players?
Yeah. I think one of those two will go, and I think on balance it will. I mean, as I say, I think that Southampton's probably his destination. I think that he will, he left them because they'd obviously been relegated from the Prem. They're now back in the Prem. And I think he knows, he's not stupid. He'll know that the writing's on the wall and that he's not really got a place under this new manager.
No.
So I think that, he will probably end up being back at St Mary's before he's too much older. As I say, I think Thomas Souček will get a stay of execution in this transfer window, but I don't really envisage that he's going to be here too much longer than he'll probably see the season out, I suspect. And that'll be it. He'll be off next summer. May even go in the January transfer window if the right offer comes in, and I'd wish him luck. He's been I just
feel like the Czech boys. I feel like the Czech boys won't accept not being in that first team. We've seen it, not so much. We haven't seen it with Souček. He's never been dropped. But if you look at the way Soufal has reacted in the past when he's been dropped for a period of games, he kicks off. I think they want to play. He's a Czech footballer of the year. I I don't know. I think there's going to be some players moving out. There's going to have to be because we've got a big squad, and the rumour is that we're looking at more players. So I think there'll be a striker coming in. I've still got my heart set on Duran, and I think we'll see this Soler come in as well from PSG, either him or Fofana. If Tim manages to pull a stroke like he did with Todibo, because at the end of the day, the player might want AC Milan like Todibo wanted Juventus, but if they ain't going to cough up the Reddies, he ain't going, is he?
No, exactly that. I mean, I did a video a little bit earlier on where I referenced Fofana, and I had an awful lot of comments that were coming back at me, and I even said it in the piece that I did. I said, AC Milan are sniffing around, and I think that they're probably the favourites, or words to that effect. And I had so many people in the comments that were saying, he's going to AC Milan, don't you know? And I'm like, I did say that. Have you listened to what I said? And this was recorded this morning, so
Todibo was going to Juventus. Todibo was also going to Juventus.
Exactly that. And like you say, Juve didn't come up with the Reddies. Tim's nipped in. He's given them a little bit of the old sweet talk, and we know what happened after that. So it's not inconceivable that we could end up getting this player. We'll wait and see. But I agree. I think that you need. I've seen your comment, Hammer 89. I have starred it, so don't worry. There's no need to put it in twice. I will get to that question. And just on that, guys, if you've got any, he is. I've got it starred. I promised. I starred it the first time, mate. If anybody has got any questions, though, could you do what Hammer 89 has done and put a Q at the beginning of it? It just makes it easier to find. Sorry about that, Nick. So yeah, I think we need to obviously, because we've made 8 signings now. And I think we do need to sort of move a few players on, because I think the squad becomes the opposite of what it was under David Moyes, where it was too small. It then becomes too large. You don't want to sort of become like a sort of Chelsea light sort of thing where you've got so many players that you cannot possibly keep them all content, and you'll have some dissension in the ranks sort of thing. I don't think that's particularly healthy. So I think that for that reason and the finances, they'll need to move players on.
I don't have that concern.
No,
I don't have that concern about. No, not about having a heavy squad. I've seen people say that now. I know we haven't got European football now. We're only playing once a week, but there are 5 subs. You're looking at a guy that will change and use his bench as well. So. He's probably going to use 16 players a game. You're going to get injuries. You're going to get suspensions. And he is going to rotate. I think that players will. It isn't going to be one size fits all with Lopetegui. It never has been. If you look at the way he managed at Wolves and at Sevilla, he does rotate. He likes to have a squad. He likes to have competition. What Lopetegui does is he wants to breed a competitive environment. And the only way that you can have a true competitive environment that will give you that edge and allow you to push to the next level is if every player that's on that pitch has got someone snapping at their ankles after their place. Yeah. That's the only way you will get pushed to that next level is if you play shit for a game or a couple of games. There's someone that's there ready to take your spot, and that is what I'm told Lopetegui wants. He wants 2 players in every position. I think we're good. I think we're all set. A couple of new players though. Couple of new players in terms of another striker. I'd like a more mobile striker to complement Füllkrug. So we've got a different option. I'm happy with us to sort of maintain Antonio, but I do think I don't think it's absolutely necessary that we've got to go and get Duran in this window. We could get him in January because we've got Antonio. But that would make it a ridiculous window. I mean, that wouldn't be 10 out of 10. That'd be 15 out of 10, wouldn't it? Could you imagine if they just dropped Duran in all of a sudden?
No, I don't think that deal's dead, Nick. I did sort of say on the piece I did this morning, I'm not convinced that Duran is completely off the cards. I think it's quite likely that it will happen after the Villa game now, obviously. And to be honest, I always thought that. I just couldn't see, even if it was a sort of like a straight sale rather than a loan with an obligation to buy, which is what I now think it will probably become. But even if they were sort of like going to say, okay, we will sell him, I think they'd have held fire until after the Villa game. Because could you imagine the stick that they'd have got if he'd have sort of played against his former club? And okay, they've got 40 million for him, for example.
He would 100%. He'd 100% score against them as well.
Exactly. The winner. they
You
go
know,
mental.
yeah. Yeah. I know.
So I'm not convinced that he's not still on the cards, but we'll wait and see. But obviously, so let's talk about some of the. I'm not going to sort of dwell on the outgoings because I mean you mentioned Flynn Downs, that's one, but there were several players. A few of them went off on loan last season, and the loans were made permanent. And other players who were released. I'll tell you what, I will mention one because his name has come up today. Divine Mubama. Did you see that he's gone to City?
I can't believe it. Well, that goes to prove he ain't a bad player.
No, absolutely not.
You know, that's quite. I'll say it's quite embarrassing. He's not going to play for Man City, is he? They've given him a contract and they'll loan him out.
Yeah,
I'm assuming is what they'll do. He's not going to be replacing Haaland anytime soon, is he?
No, I don't think so. No, I think you're right. I think it'll be they'll loan him out, but he'll be sort of one for the future. They have moved on Alvarez, haven't they? Though City.
Yeah, they've moved on Alvarez, but
I'm not saying he'll replace him, but.
Oh, mate. Well, look, I mentioned it a little while ago, and I've been avoiding the topic because people kicked off, rightly so. Because I kicked off when I heard it's a possibility, but apparently Liverpool and City are looking at Kudus.
Brilliant.
There is money to spend for them now. So whether we'll sell him or not, I don't know. But I suppose if somebody comes in with 100 million, what are you going to do? That's a big return, isn't it?
Everyone's got a price.
Yeah, that's literally free. That's threefold in a year. It's not a bad bit of business, but I don't want to lose Kudus. You know, he's a fantastic player.
I agree. Yeah, he'd be someone. I mean, I think there's a few players that. I mean, I'm kind of resigned that Paquetá, once all this stuff with the betting bits and bobs, I'm sort of kind of braced that he's going to be off. I think the only reason why he's still here is because he's got that cloud hanging over him. If that wasn't around, I have the feeling he probably would have left last season, if I'm being honest, because there was obviously noises that City were interested in him then. So it was only when all that came out that they sort of, hang on, maybe not. But we'll wait and see. But so
I think the stars could well align for it though, Gatesy, because if you look, he would have gone. Paquetá would have gone. It's as simple as that. He was going to City. But for whatever reason, we've ended up retaining him. We've had this massive rebuild over the summer because you look at our team on paper now, the potential team on paper.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's an outstanding team. Like it really is. We don't know what it's going to look like on the grass, which is the most important thing. But on paper, it looks outstanding. We've got depth. We haven't got the because we're going to be aiming for the top 8, and the people that we're going up against in the top 8 are playing twice a week. Apart from Newcastle, everyone else has got European football. We have not. I think we could cause a surprise this year. I genuinely think we could click quicker. Look, the odds are when you make this many changes, it's going to take ages for the team to kind of gel and get to know each other. Because when you build a new team like that, it's not simple. You know, the players on the pitch, they've got to get to know their teammates, learn their movements, learn what they can and can't do, gain confidence in them, and learn what you've got to cover for your teammates. So there's a lot that you can't just click your fingers. So you would imagine it would take a while, but funnier things have happened. You know, sometimes if we get a bit of a freak result, which I think it would be if we beat Villa at home with a new team, because they're a good settled side. I think if we beat them at home, you don't know. Like we could kick on. That could be the catalyst, Gatesy, for us to go on. And steamroller everyone.
One thing that gives me a little bit of hope, though, Nick. Do you remember the Villa's opening game last season? What happened? They went up to Newcastle and they got smashed 5. Opening game of the Premier League. They came out of the traps pretty slowly and they got smashed up at St James's Park 5-1. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed we get something similar to that.
Yeah.
That'd be a great way for the new guy to start and the new players to get sort of bedded in. Let's talk about some of the players that we obviously brought in. Now, initially we made 3 signings fairly quickly after the new manager sort of came in. There was obviously what is essentially a training ground goalkeeper in West from Sheffield United. We got Luis Guilherme, who has come in from Palmeiras in Brazil. And then the big money signing was Max Kilman, just about £40 million worth of central defender coming in from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then followed something of a lull. Now, were you like me at that point? Were you sitting there and asking questions like, what the hell is going on?
I threw me toys out the pram, like I always
Yep.
do. I threw me toys out the pram. I thought, I thought it's all going wrong. It's all going wrong. Same old West Ham, bloody Sullivan. Yep. Tim Stein ain't controlling it, and I did. I was panicked. I was worried. It's all it is, because you know how anti-Moyes I was. Everyone knows how anti-Moyes I was. So I am desperate for Lopetegui to succeed. I still would rather us have got the players in earlier so that they could have more of a fucking pre-season. But
100%.
You can't knock the business that we've had done, and they've all come in before we've kicked a ball in the Premier League. So you can't have it all, you can't. I think they've done amazingly well. It is a 10 out of 10 window, even now, in my opinion. It's brilliant. So, yeah, I'm pleased. Always room for improvement, though.
Well, it may still come. I don't think that we're done. I think, like I say, I think probably in order to make it happen, there might have to be one or two that have to depart inevitably. A, to make the space in the squad, and B, for the financials. But yeah, 8 in this transfer window with more to come. I mean, what's not to like? I mean, as you said earlier, I agree with you in that in order for you to have everybody sort of bringing their best version of themselves, they have to have the fear that the guy that's sitting on the bench that can play the same position as them may well replace them. If they have a bad game, if they don't perform, they're sitting there going, shit, I could be on the bench next week if I don't pull my finger out. Do you know what I mean? That's what we need. We need that in the one position that concerns me, Nick, is left back. Because I'm not convinced that really Emerson is he really going to be challenged by Aaron Cresswell and a sort of like a young Oliver Scarles? Do you think that's the position that possibly we need to strengthen?
Well, from what I've been told, I think Scholes is going to be one of the players that does hang around. I think he's going to play understudy to Emerson. I know we've got Cresswell. I don't think Cresswell's been brought in as I think he's been brought in to fill in as a left-sided centre back, as and when we need him. He can't play left wing back. He really can't.
No.
But I do think, and I like Emerson as well. I love him. I think he's a brilliant wing back. He's been one of our best signings, one of many. So. Yeah, I think we're okay. I mean, we're probably going to need another right back, because Aaron Wan-Bissaka does have a bit of a suspect injury record. He does. So there's every likelihood that you're going to get a few games that he misses throughout a season. And I've got a feeling that Soufal ain't going to be interested in playing understudy. He's not. He's already one of the lowest. I feel sorry for him, because he's not my favourite player. I think he's done a job for us. He's good for a period when he came in, but we've outgrown him. And I feel sorry for him, because he does deserve more than what he's paid. He's one of the lowest earners at the club. So I think he'll be keen on a move. He'll be keen on getting a payday. I think he's earned it, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the signings sort of. So as I say, we referenced those 3 that came in straight away. The bit of a lull. Then it went potty. These are in no particular order. We got in Somerville. We got in Fulkrug. We got in Wan-Bissaka. We got in Rodriguez. We got in Todibo. The Todibo one was a really interesting one. I mean, you referenced it earlier in that it was one that really at no point it looked like we were serious contenders. He was waiting for Juventus to make a play. I didn't think it was going to happen until it did. And I was like, wow, what has Tim Stein done here? He's majorly pulled a rabbit out of the hat, hasn't he?
Oh, you've got a player there that I didn't think we had a hope in hell's chance of landing. He's one of the most talented centre-backs in world football, in European football, so that's world football. He genuinely is fantastic. He's got every attribute that you could want. He's a very progressive centre-back as well. In terms of, he's a passer. He can carry the ball. he's quick, but he's tough. He can defend as well, really well. I think Mbappe came out. There's a quote out there from Mbappe where he said he can't ever get any change out of Todibo. He can't. He's one player that's sort of got his. So that's an endorsement, isn't it? You know, if Mbappe says that. So no, for the fact that we managed to look, I know it was because Juventus couldn't get the deal done, but there would have been other clubs out there as well.
Yeah.
The fact that we've been able to get that deal done with no European football was an absolute masterstroke. And he put that bid in about a month before we signed him, knowing that Juventus didn't have the bloody money. He knew it. And he just left it there. They left the bid. They left the bid on the table. And then they got all the, like I said, he went on a rampage. Signed Fulkrook, signed Somerville, and then all of a sudden that player's going to be looking from Nice, going, fuck me, look what's happening there at West Ham. Same with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because there was rumours that he didn't want to come to us. So we've left that deal till last. I think we've probably had to convince the player a little bit. He's going to have looked at all the business that we've done. All of a sudden, it's looking quite exciting at West Ham.
It
you know?
Definitely. Let's turn our attentions to pre-season now. I'm probably similar to me. I don't take an awful lot of notice of pre-season friendlies. They're just for getting minutes in players' legs, shaking off a bit of rust, bit of fitness, trying to sort of find out new ways of playing, new strategies, blah blah blah. But in what you observed of pre-season, what were your general overall impressions?
In pre-season, I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't. Probably best not to talk about that because I don't want to be negative. I wasn't really happy with the way that Lopetegui utilised pre-season either, because I do think a lot of players got a lot of minutes that I don't think are going to feature. I'm telling myself that James Ward-Prowse, Jedwood, I'll call them, James Ward-Prowse and Souček are not going to partner against Villa. So I couldn't quite figure out why Potts, because I'd rather have Potts than either of those two play. I really would, personally. I think he was the best of the three central midfielders when they all played together. You know, he's got more ability. He's a good player. He's a good player, Potts, but he didn't get a look in against Celta Vigo. Don't know why. But no, I'm not going to ponder on that, because I do think that there's other stuff going on. We know that Lopetegui probably wants more players, and we need to free up space in the squad. We can't afford to do what we've done with Zuma and let everyone go on a free. Apparently, we're considering doing that with Cornet and Danny Ings as well. So they're three players that we would consider letting go on a free. Other players that we know that they would listen to offers for are Aguirre and Mavropanos. Mavropanos is an interesting one because that's a Tim signing. And I like it because he doesn't care if he makes a little mistake. It weren't that. Would it cost 15 million? Probably not going to lose too much money on it. He's obviously had a look at him and gone, no, he's not quite right. He's not up to scratch. I like that. That's ruthless, you know. There's no room for sentiment if you want to be successful, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%.
So no, pre-season was shit. It was. Can I just say something quickly?
Go for it, please.
Gatesy. Right, Gatesy is on 939 subscribers. It's very important for YouTube channels to get to 1,000. So anyone that's watching on the Claret and Booze side, or anyone else, please give the man a subscribe. Subscribe to his channel, please. Let's get him over that 1,000 mark.
Cheers, Nick. Appreciate it. And also, if you wouldn't mind,
No
someone put in the chat, I think, it was Hammer89. We got over 200 people watching. When I last looked, we had 66 likes. It seems like a simple thing, but Nick will tell you the likes are so important, because it will spur the algorithms of YouTube into a sort of a frenzy and end up kicking the content out in this direction, that direction, that otherwise it wouldn't have done. So that's really important as well, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. I suppose we've obviously covered the signings. We've covered the new manager. We've covered Tim Stuyton's activity. We've covered pre-season. Let's now talk about the upcoming fixture against Aston Villa. So they obviously had a pretty impressive Premier League season last time out. They finished fourth in the end. They've qualified for the Champions League. I mean, for me, I think that the manager Unai Emery was someone that when he went in, obviously, I think he got quite a bad time after the Arsenal experience. And I mean, obviously, he was following a club legend in Arsene Wenger. I think he
Yeah.
was on hiding to nothing a little bit, and people sort of like belittled him because his English was maybe not the best. He went away. He's won UEFA Cups, or as I call it, UEFA Cup still. That's showing my age. Europa Leagues with Villarreal, with Sevilla. The man's a winner. Whatever you want to sort of like level at him, he is a winner. And he's obviously come back into Villa, who at the time were on their knees after the disastrous appointment of Steven Gerrard. He turned them around. He kept them safe, and then he's followed it up by taking them to fourth, which must have been beyond their wildest dreams. And that's our first fixture. That's the one that we've got at London Stadium on Saturday. What's your thoughts when you looked at the opening fixture and you saw it was Villa? What was your initial impressions?
To be honest, I'd rather have a tough game first off, as opposed to getting one of the bloody newly promoted teams that have just come up. I would. It's a baptism by fire. The pressure's probably more on them than us. Let's face it. Even though we're at home, they're in the Champions League. They had a brilliant season. They've got an established team. But they don't know how Lopetegui's going to set up. They don't know what team he's going to put out. They don't know how prepared we are. I don't think he's played his starting 11 that he's going to field in pre-season. They're not going to have had a chance to, because we know how meticulous Emery is. He would have loved to have had some insight into what Lopetegui was going to do. He ain't going to have a clue. He's not going to have a clue. And the difference between Aston Villa and West Ham last year, I'm convinced of it. Yes, they've got some players in certain positions that are better than ours, i.e. Watkins. But on the whole, when you look at their squad, we had just as much talent in our squad as what they had. The difference between West Ham and Aston Villa was they had more talent in the dugout, unfortunately. We didn't have a manager that was fitting to the type of squad that we had. Now we do. Now we've got a tactician, because with Unai Emery, we've seen him. He is a bit of a tinkerer. He does tweak mid-game. He sees things, and he kind of changes things in real time, it seems. Lopetegui's the same. He's sharp. He's sharp as well. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be like a game of chess. An exciting game of chess, I hope. But it will be. I do think that we're going to start to see us moving towards more of a possession-based game, and I just hope that West Ham, because this is something I've seen, right, and this drives me fucking mad. It actually drives me mad. It's when people go, "Oh, the possession-based game is so boring. I don't want that. I want to be the counter." Do you know what they're saying? It can be boring. If you're playing a low block team, like we were, if you're playing a team that are low blocking, the possession-based team are going to be having a lot of the ball. They're trying to draw the opposition out to create space. So it's a boring game when one team plays low block. But what we've got fans are saying now, quite a few of them as well, I like the counter-attacking style better. I don't care about having... So you would rather not have the ball. You'd rather watch a game for 90 minutes and be the team that don't have the ball. That doesn't make sense to me. You've got to give the guy a chance. It will probably be a little bit boring and a little bit frustrating at times while they're trying to get to grips with it. They're going to be playing out from the back. You're probably going to see some mistakes, even with the new guys, because until you've got when you play that way, until the team is like a fucking oiled machine and everybody knows each other's movements perfectly, you're going to get mistakes. So there are going to be some. There's going to be some teething issues. But you've got to be patient with it. And I'm saying that to myself as well, because I'm like the most impatient person in the world. I am. But I will be patient. The only thing that will possibly make me lose my mind will be if I see James Ward-Prowse and Souček play for 90 minutes and we get outrun. We get overrun by Aston Villa in midfield. The reason I would get frustrated is because that's going to happen anyway. You might as well try something different. It's no surprise. We got overrun in midfield last season when you play those two. We got overrun in pre-season. You've seen what happened. So that is the only thing that could... And that's not going to make me like... I hate Lopetegui. No, it won't. What I'm saying is that will piss me off. It will. Yeah. I'm certain it won't happen, Gatesy. Jedward won't play. Maybe one. No. One of the two, but not both.
Yeah, I think probably Souček's the one if either of them start. put it. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've put my 11 out there for people to scrutinise, and I one of the things that people turned around when they saw my starting 11 for the Villa game, which we'll come to the questions, guys. I promise. They are starred. They're ready to go. I've put out a very offensive lineup. I can't lie. I've probably gone mental, and I've turned around and said, "Well, look, you've got to understand that I've had a couple of seasons of being starved of that type of football, of coming out and sort of like meeting a team in the sort of like in the centre of the park. So maybe it's because I've been starved of attacking football for so long that maybe I went a little bit mental." And just sort of like stuck in players, sort of like I've got to have in Kudus, I've got to have in Paquetá, Somerville, Fulkrug, Bowen, I've got to have them all in, sort of thing. And possibly they won't all play, and I'm clever enough to realise that mine is very much an aspirational team, and probably one that ultimately won't happen because it probably would be a little bit too offensive. You have to balance it up. I'm not daft, but yeah, I'm looking.
No. But what you might see though, Gatesy, is what you might see is at some point in that game, you may see that attacking formation. It doesn't mean you're going to start like that. It doesn't mean you're going to. I mean, I'm not too sure whether Lopetegui's the type of guy that goes after the game and then kind of tries to control it afterwards. Go for the game early, try and get a goal, 2 goals, and then try and hold on to the ball. Don't let the other team have the ball. That's fine. I haven't got a problem with that. You know, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I think you will. I think you'll see. Progress is what I want to see. That's the thing. I just want to see. I don't want to see the low block anymore.
No,
I won't complain against Man City. I don't expect us to go toe to toe with them. But I don't want us to sit. I don't want to see that anymore. I really don't. And you can play counter-attacking football without playing the way. Because do you know something? When people say counter-attacking football, it wasn't what David Moyes was doing. You know, that low block, when you've got every player back in your 18-yard box, there's no counter-attack there. That's not a counter-attacking game. Counter-attacking is what fucking Brentford do when they've got Ivan, Toney and Mbeumo up front. That's counter-attacking. That's quick spring, bang, go. More often than not, we had everyone deep, apart from one player. What's he supposed to do?
Yeah, it was so frustrating last season.
I don't even think it was a counter-attacking game. It was just defend, don't lose.
It was boring, mate.
I'm glad it's over.
Death by 1,000 cuts. Right, let's get into some questions. You okay? You wrote some questions then, Nick?
Of course, yeah.
Right, let's do it. So, got this one. So this is the one that Hammer89 put in twice, and he thought I'd ignored him the first time. I didn't, Hammer89. I started it straight away. He asked the question, Nick, what did you think of J-Lo's comments on Zuma today?
What did he say?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know either.
Yeah.
I'll be brutally honest. So, Hammer89, neither of us know. Neither of us have seen the comments that J-Lo's made on Zuma today. If you want to come back and just clarify that, please feel free. I'll keep an eye out for it. Okay, let's move on then. So Barry says, "Is Claret and Booze connected to the band C&B?" I don't.
C&B? No, but there is a band coming out. I mean, you've heard my lovely singing voice. There'll be some smash hits coming out soon.
Smashing plates as well.
No, we're not connected to the band. I don't even know who they are. C&B. Do you?
I've got no idea. I've got no clue, Barry, who they are, mate, and Nick doesn't either. So we'll move on with that. So Hugh 7070 says it's questions for Nick. Like to ask him his thoughts on AKA Virgil in Turkey getting his teeth done, and his thoughts on Virgil starting his own channel. Nick, over to you.
Yeah, I wish him all the best. He is actually over there getting his teeth done and getting a boob lift as well. He's getting it all done while he's out there. He should be back sometime next week as well. So he's going to look absolutely stunning. He's going to look beautiful when he gets back. And yes, he's going to be starting his own channel, another one as well. Yes, that'd be good.
Good luck to him. Ken, Hammers comes in. He asks the question, before the season ended, he said on social media we needed a minimum of 8 players. People scoffed. I wasn't wrong. We didn't have a quality enough squad. What would your starting lineups be, lads? Nick, I'll let you go first.
My starting lineup. Do you know what? I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for the crazy one. It's never going to happen, but that is the that is the 4-2. What is it? The 3-2-4-1. Did you see it? Did you see that formation?
No.
Right. The 3-2-4-1 was. Is that right? Is that 11? That's 11 players, isn't it? I'm trying to visualize the graphic. The 3-2-4-1. So that would be Kilman on the left. That would be Tadibo in the middle. It would be Aaron Wan-Bissaka right of the three centre backs.
Right.
Then you have Rodriguez and Paqueta in the middle. You have there's basically a row of 4 attacking players. You have what was it? No, there was 2 central midfielders, weren't there? 2, yeah. Bear with me. So you got your 3 centre backs. You got your 2 central midfielders, which were Rodriguez, and it was not going to be Alvarez because Alvarez I don't think is going to be fit.
No.
But then the 4 was basically Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, and whoever else you could put in there. I don't know. Let me get the graphic up. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what. Whilst you're doing that, I'll give mine. Mine would be 4-3-3.
I'll get the team up. That's it. Can I just show you?
Go on. Yeah. Go for it. So what's that? So it's Areola. Is that Kilman, Tadibo, Wan-Bissaka, Rodriguez, and they've got Alvarez. Okay. Kudus, Paqueta.
Yeah, but obviously Alvarez won't be starting. Yeah, so that's what it is. So you got Areola, you got Kilman, Tadibo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. In this, you've got Edson Alvarez and Rodriguez, which is a defensive shield in front of the 3. Yep. 2 players that have got the ability to drop back into that 3 and form a 4. And you've got Lucas Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, and that's the one I was missing, Somerville, with Nicholas Fulkrug up front. So, yeah, that's what I would love to see. We're not going to, but that's what I would love to see.
Well,
they never played 3-2. The 3-2-4-1. They never played 3-2-4-1. There's probably a reason no one ever plays that, but that's what I'd do.
Well, mine was a 4-3-3 in possession, 4-2-3-1 out of possession.
Yeah.
Which was Areola in goal. I'll give it in the 4-3-3 shape. Emerson left, Wan-Bissaka right, Kilman and Tadibo central defence. Rodriguez as the holding midfielder. Paqueta and Kudus just slightly ahead of him. Left, Somerville. Right, Bowen. Through the middle, Fulkrug. Never happened in a million years. I wouldn't. Yeah. Put it this way: there's more chance of it happening under this manager than there was the previous manager. But as I say, I've been starved of attacking football for so long, and now I'm just like, right, we've got all these players. Let's get them all in. Let's attack. Don't worry about defending. Let's just attack. We'll outscore them. Don't worry.
Don't want to go down this route because obviously we don't want to talk about Moyes anymore. But if Moyes was here and all these players had just come in, what do you think the starting lineup would be?
I think he'd have Souček and Ward-Prowse in there. He'd have the usual suspects, wouldn't he? He'd sort of it'd just be completely fucking. Yeah. I've got all these star players. I'll stick them on the bench. What? Sorry?
Got to bet him in. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, got to bet him in. Got to bet him in.
He'll be ready by about mid-January. Christ's sake.
It's so nice. It is so nice that's done now. And this is what I mean. I think once the new football starts, because people are saying a lot, you've got to stop talking about Moyes now. It's difficult because the reason we're in this state and we've got this massive rebuild is because of what he did in terms of, so successful winning us a cup, but that squad that he built, which consisted of the oldest and the smallest squad, not capable by the looks of it of playing a passing game. It's not really done us any favours. But look, we've obviously. I think it's impressive what they've done. They've completely and utterly de-Moised us in one window. Yeah. I think that's what they've done. We've been.
I think
cleansed,
this manager will
cleansed of moistness.
I think this manager as well, what we'll see as well, and I think you referenced it earlier, is that he won't be afraid of making substitutions before the 70th minute. He will be like, okay, that ain't working. Bang, half time, maybe even a substitution, a tactical substitution in the first half. I've seen managers do that before, if it's really sort of going wrong, bang, make a substitution. Okay, I've made a mistake there. Let's change it. He will have no hesitation in making 5 substitutions in a game, I don't believe. And again, I know we don't want to hark on about the previous incumbent, but just to sort of illustrate the point is that there was the game against Palace last season. In the entire 90 minutes, he made 1 substitution in the 89th minute. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know, I don't know what does, quite frankly.
No, absolutely. And I do think that there will be some issues with some legacy players. Going back to what you were saying earlier on, there will be some players moaning if they're not starting. Antonio won't be happy. Souček won't be happy. James Ward-Prowse won't be happy. Soufal won't be happy. But that's because David Moyes developed this kind of closed shop starting 11 where it was just a starting 11 and everyone else was a backups. And it's almost an insult if you're sitting on a bench, I think. Whereas with Lopetegui, he's got to get a new mentality into these players, which he will. Whereas it's a squad game. It's a squad game. You play just as much an important part if you're coming on in the 60th minute as what you do if you start. It's our tactics. It's what I'm setting out. And that's the thing. I think he will utilise his squad. Everyone will feel like they're playing their part. You won't feel like a second-class citizen if you're sitting on the bench because all you're there for is a spare part if someone else falls to pieces from the starting 11. You won't have that. So there might be a bit of a hang-up. There might be some moaning. But the impression I get of Lopetegui is, Gatesy, is that he won't give a fuck. If someone moans.
Nope.
He's a winner. He doesn't look like the sort of bloke that's really going to care if a player starts bitching.
No, I think he will probably be a bit like me. Oh, you want sympathy, do you? I'll tell you what. Oh, here's a dictionary. And what you do is you look in there and it's roughly halfway between shit and syphilis. Off you go. Anyway, question from a Hammer 89 again. What do you think Virgil is shoving down his neck tonight while he's in Turkey? There's a few questions about Virgil.
I know what he's shoving down his neck. I shall tell you. Hang on 1 minute. I'm sure everyone's interested in this. 1 second. I've got the picture. Hang on. Oh, it's a lively group. Right. This is baked trout with orzo rice and fresh summer salad.
Ooh.
There you go.
Very nice. He goes to all
very
the,
healthy.
all the sort of...
Healthy Virgil.
Yeah. You won't recognise him when you come back. He'll have lost a couple of pounds. Well, maybe that's a stretch. He'll have new gnashers. Brilliant.
He's the amount of beer he's drinking. He ain't gonna have lost no weight. Trust me.
Oh, has he gone all inclusive? Is he?
He's on. I'm not sure. But he's on. I know he's on the beers from about 10, 11 in the morning.
Oh Christ. Oh, Hammer 89 again. If we sold Kudus and got Eze, would you be happy?
Yeah, well, that's a good. Yeah, Eze's a good player, isn't he? Yeah. Depending on how we play, depending on how we see this team set up. Like for instance, say we go and get this Soler as well. You're gonna. It's almost like because Kudus' strongest position is his worst position. He's still effective. Is wide left, and that's where he played him against Celta Vigo. You know, if Bowen plays, he's going to play right wing. So if he isn't going to play him in a 10, either the 10 or right wing, they're the two positions where you play Kudus. So to a degree, if it feels a little bit like it does to me, if with this squad that we're building, I don't want to say it, but it does feel a little bit like we're preparing for someone to go. A little bit. I might be wrong. You know, I'm often wrong. So I hope I am in this instance. Put it that way.
I hope you are as well. So. But as I said earlier, everybody's got their price.
But in answer to that question, I would not be happy if we sold Kudus, but Eze is a good player to get in. Yeah, he's a good player.
It'd mitigate the loss, if you will. It wouldn't. Well, I think I'm not saying. I personally think that Kudus is the better player myself, but it's not a bad replacement. That you could replace him with
It's
worse.
a brilliant replacement.
Yeah, we could.
That
we
is
could
actually a
re-sign.
replacement. Eze is actually a replacement. Yeah.
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 I mean, it's better than re-signing Pablo Fornals or Saeed Benrahma, isn't it? Just saying.
Oh, Lawrence just bought the Kudus home kit. You should never do that, Lawrence. You shouldn't do it. You're tempting fate.
Buyer beware. You know what happens next. Question for the pair of us. Would you use new signings on Saturday or would you play safe with the old guard? Well, I've kind of already answered that one, Michael, with my 11. I would get as many of them as possible, mate.
I'd throw them straight in because you know what? No one's really expecting us to kick on straight away anyway. You've got to get these players galvanised and understanding each other as quickly as possible. Fucking go with what you think your 11 is going to be in 4 weeks' time. Play it now.
Yep.
Even if they're not going to be 100% and it isn't going to work, play them until it clicks. That's what they've got to do. I don't want to see this phased approach. That pisses me off. That's like a Moyesism. No, I don't know. But I'm sure he knows what he's doing, old Loppy. He knows what he's doing. He'll be fine.
You don't win the Europa League if you haven't got something about you. Do you know what I mean? So, right, we've already obviously answered that question, really. So, we don't really need to sort of drill down too much further into that. That's fine. But thanks for your question anyway. Michael, what do you think the reaction will be if Villa use Duran? Well, the reaction from me would be one of complete shock. But what about you, Nick?
I would, if I was Emery, 100%. I would use him because I personally think that player is probably going to be a bit pissed off with West Ham, a little bit. If we don't push through with this deal, we know that Tim Stein and Lopetegui met with this player. We know that they made him promises. They said he was a number one target. They said they was going to push through and do everything they could to get him. We know that they did that. So they led him up the garden path. We saw what he did on Instagram with the crossed hammers. He only did that if he thought that deal was done. He thought he was coming. So I personally think that he could switch his focus towards us if we now don't get that deal done. Personally, so if I was Emery, I'd 100% play him. I would. He's a good player.
Do you know what? You've actually made a compelling argument. I mean, I still would be surprised, but I've got to be honest with you. The way you've put it across, Nick, I think you've got a great point. I think you got a fantastic point. He will be pissed off with us, and he would be coming on with a little bit of a right. Okay,
100%.
You fuckers didn't want to put 40 million quid on the table for me and get the job done, and you've left me in no man's land. I'll fucking show you.
Yep.
Have some of this. So
he had to take his social media down and everything. He was getting death threats the lot after we did that. It was quite bad what he went through. He's only a baby. He's 20. I know he did it to himself. It was stupid, but he's a kid. He's a kid. He's he shouldn't have done that, but he must have felt like it was a done deal. He must have, bit shit on our part, that one. I don't think it was all us. I don't think Villa have helped either.
No, true. Kent's got a question here. So, does it help our new team blend just a little that we don't leave London for the first 10 or so games?
What's that? Does it help the new team blend?
Because we're not obviously leaving London.
Yeah,
I think it's until first Premier League game we've got is beginning of November, if I remember correctly.
Well, the good thing is as well is we've got a week between games, so that's why it's so important and so key. I think that he just starts as he means to go on, because he's got a week. He's got a week on the training pitch between games. He's got a lot of time. We haven't got to leave London. He can get a lot of work done in that period. Over a 4-week period, that you should be able to create a team out of what he's got there. What I don't want to see is him just trying something. Oh, that hasn't worked. Try something else. Oh, that doesn't work. Try something else. Oh, that doesn't work. Nothing's going to fucking work if you it's. I don't think he'll do that, though. This is what I'm saying to you. I don't think he'll do that. I think he already knows in his mind what he wants. I think he will know what his starting 11 is, or very close to it. And I think that's what we'll see. I hope.
Fair enough. Michael's asked another question. He says, how many pundits will say sorry for the "be careful what you wish for"? Very patronising statement, I found.
Won't. Yeah, Rio Ferdinand. What more do you want? This is what we want. This is what we want. Fucking mate. It was endless. Do you know something? I was actually going to do a video based on that. I just couldn't be bothered in the end. I was going through the clips, and there's just an endless barrage of them from everyone that was doing that to us. And no, do you know what? It's not worth anyone's effort. Fuck them, to be quite honest. No, got no interest. They're so disingenuous, because you know what that is. Be careful what you wish for. Is know your place, West Ham.
Know your place.
That's what
yes.
that is. Who do you think you are? If you listen to Darren Bent now, he is now he's crediting West Ham, and he's saying, yeah, it's amazing what they've done, and if you're a West Ham fan, you'll be happy. They don't want West Ham to progress. So I should never have got wound up with them people. None of us should have. Bollocks to them. We're hopefully we're going to come out and we're going to be a force this year. I think we will be.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Know Your Place. Is that to Ronnie's sketch with John Cleese back in the day, the old black and white one? I'm upper class. I look down on him because he's middle class. That one. That's essentially what it is, isn't it? I know my place. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, know your place. Well, we're coming for the few Premier League teams, and we might not win the Premier League, but I'll tell you what, we're going to have a little bit of a scrap, and we're not there to make up the numbers. I don't believe. I really don't. Lucas comes in and says
we're going to cause shockwaves.
I think we'll cause a few. We'll cause a few of the bigger boys a trouble or two, more than we did last season. Lucas says, after how many games into the season should we expect for the new squad to have settled?
Well, I think you've got to at least allow until Christmas. I would like to think that the second part of the season, that's when we'll really kick on. So I think somebody else asked a question further back. They said, where do you expect us to be in January? I think 10th that's a really healthy position for us to be in January, because you would expect that this team, this group of players, are only going to get better as the season progresses. So providing we can stay there or thereabouts, grind out enough wins, get enough points, I do believe that the second part of the season will be substantially better than the first.
Yeah, I think we might have to be patient in that I think there are a lot of players that will still be in around the starting 11, in and around the squad, matchday squad, who have had so long under the Moyes philosophy of playing football that it will be a little bit difficult to shake that off. It's a bit like muscle memory, I would liken it to. They're so used to doing certain things. There will be certain things that have just become ingrained in them and feel natural for them to do. And they'll probably have those little moments during a game when they won't even think. They'll react, and they'll react in the way that the previous manager would have expected them to do with a certain play. And then they'll probably, at the moment they've played the ball, they'll go, shit, that was the wrong thing to do. And they'll probably look across to the touchline. They'll see Julian Lopetegui glaring at them like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not how I want you to play. So there might be a little bit of time that we have to kind of accept that might be a little bit of a byproduct of the previous era. But I think that once we've played, I'm sort of like, in my mind, I've got 4 to 6 games, Premier League games, as where I would sort of say, okay, this is the point from which I would now expect to see that's now rinsed out of them.
Yeah. Well, the only players that because I don't think the players that I expect to be in that team, I don't think they've been moised. I think that they'll be able to kind of adapt to a new style straight away, and that is Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, Alvarez. That's basically it. That's all that's going to be left. That's all that's going to be left. So, other than that, and Emerson, it's going to be a completely new team. Other than that, so yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I know what you mean. If it was the same team trying to play a different style, then yeah, absolutely, it is like muscle memory. They've been taught to play football without the ball for 3 years. You know, don't run with it. Stop it. Pack it in. Stand now.
Yeah.
But this is a new team, so I think it's more going to be a case of them getting to know each other and getting to understand what Lopetegui wants of them as well.
Fair. West Ham Irons has got a question. He asked the question, who's your favourite signing and reasons why?
Do you want to go?
I'm going to say probably Todibo, because I didn't think that was going to happen. I just genuinely thought it's not going to happen. So I think that's, and I'm a big believer that you know, we need to have a strong defense if we're going to have. It doesn't matter how good your offense is. If you've got a crap defense, then your foundations are built on sand. So you need to make sure that your defense is solid. And Kilman, I think 40 million was more than what I'd have paid. I rate the guy, but I'm think that the price tag is a little bit expensive for me. But I think alongside Todibo, he'll show the best of himself. But as I say, the player himself, I just thought, Juventus, West Ham, for me, it would be an easy decision, but I'm not French. You know, he didn't grow up supporting West Ham. He's got no vested interest in coming to London over Turin. You know, Juventus qualify for the Champions League pretty much every season going. So taking emotion out of it, I was expecting him to sign for them. I just was. So when it happened, I was like, wow, Tim has played a blinder there.
Completely unexpected. Unexpected.
So I think that's probably my favourite.
My favourite. I probably would have gone to Debo, but I'm gonna go for someone else now.
Sorry, mate.
My favourite. No. My favourite probably was Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because it completed that backline. It was the final piece of the puzzle that Lopetegui needed. He's got the players that he needs now to go out and play Lopetegui ball. We do need some other players as well, some more competition in different areas, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka was the one. You know, it dragged on for fucking. By the time we signed him, it was like an anticlimax. It had been dragging on for so long, but that really did. It's completed the back line. Very important that we got that right back slot. Well, I mean, when was the last time we had a right back that good? He's a top player, Wan-Bissaka, and he gets a rough deal for his offensive attributes as well. When he was at Palace, he was good going forward. He was. It's just because he's so defensively strong. I just think that's the way he was utilised at Man U, because he's a brick wall.
Yeah,
you know, on that side, he really is. But he can get forward. He can put a cross in. You know, people talk about Soufal's, but people talk about Soufal's crossing ability. You know, he's been in the team for 4 years. I think he's got something like 13 assists. It's not a lot. Yeah, it's not a lot of assists in the time that he's been there. They say he's so good going forward. Well, not really. No, he's not.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be difficult to replicate those numbers offensively. I've got to be honest.
Fair. Mandy's got a question. She asks, do you expect a better season in the second season or the first under Lopetegui?
Second. Going to get better and better.
I agree. My expectation is that this is going to be the season where we recalibrate. So there might have to be a little bit of leeway that you give the team and the manager in that, sorry, head coach in that regard. My expectation would be that whatever we achieve this season, next season, it has to be just that little bit better.
It's what I want to see. I want to see steady improvement. Probably one of the worst things that could happen to us is for us to come out and do what Ange Postecoglou did last year, be on fire for 4 months and then fall to fucking pieces. I would rather us gradually improve throughout the season, get better and better and better. in a sense, what Arsenal did, Arteta, that's a project. You know, that he's putting new pieces of the puzzle all the time, and that's what I want to see. That's a project. That I want to see it blossom. I want to see this team blossom into something beautiful. That's what I want.
Yeah.
So second season, yes.
Last question we've got so far, and then we'll move on to other matters. West Ham Irons comes in and says, who do you think we'll get?
Hang on,
if we do
Gacy.
sign-
14, Gacy, 14 subs left. Come on, people. 14 more.
Actually,
14 more subs.
according to what I've got, it's 9. I'm looking here.
9 more. Come on.
991. 900. Do you
go,
think we're going to break it tonight?
We're getting there.
Do you think we're going to break it tonight?
100% we are, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It'll probably be that we'll be on 999. Oh, no, I'll tell you what will probably happen, knowing my luck. We'll get to 1,000. We'll go, hooray. We'll end the stream, and then someone will go, oh, no, I've changed my mind now. And I'll wake up in the morning, it'll be 999. I'll be like, for Christ's sakes. Just typical.
I mean, you're one
luck.
of the nicest people in the world, Gatesy, but there's probably someone in the chat that don't like you, and he's going to give you that 1,000th sub, and then he's just going to remove it afterwards, just to annoy you, just to irritate you.
You can't please everyone, mate. What can you do? Yeah, I'll try to be a nice guy, but I can't please everyone. So I'm not even going to try.
Well, you can't. You shouldn't even try.
No, I am what I am, mate. And if people like me, that's great. And if they don't, 995, Nick. 995.
Come on, 5 more.
Getting closer.
There you go.
It is getting closer. So who do you think we're going to get? If we get 3 more players, I'll tell you what, let's slightly reframe the question just to be very, very mischievous, because I can do that. You're Julien Lopetegui. You've got the budget.
Yep.
You've got the space in your squad to sign 3 more players. Who are you signing and why?
Duran, because I want. I can't help but feel like, because they're so different, Füllkrug and Duran, they're completely polar opposite players. I can't help but think that was always in the planning, was to get 2 different types of striker. I do think that probably was in the planning. We didn't just all of a sudden go, we can't get Duran, we're going to go and get Füllkrug, because that would make no fucking sense. I think that they tried to get the Duran deal done first because they know that the guy's a bit touchy about being a number 1 striker. Probably going to be more difficult to convince him now because Füllkrug's there. So they probably tried to get the player in and done before they went and signed Füllkrug. I think that was always going to happen by the sounds of it. So Duran, 100%. I want to see... well, this is a difficult one. I either want to see Soler or Yusuf Fofana. And they're different types of player. Soler's more exciting, but Fofana is a fucking destroyer in the middle. He's a marauding, powerful central midfielder. The complete opposite of what I dislike about the likes of James Ward-Prowse. No presence. Fofana's got presence. He is also very good going forward as well. But he's different. He's direct. He's no frills. It's like Chiati on steroids. That's what it is. He's kind of that marauding central midfielder. So if Fofana was on, so probably Duran, Fofana, and one more. I'd sign another centre back.
When you say one more, Nick, we're on 999.
Oh, there you go. See, get that last one in.
Someone, there's got to be someone watching that hasn't subscribed yet. Come on, just hit the button that says subscribe. Go on.
Apparently, Fofana's just signed for AC Milan. Well, that's bollocks. And no, I don't like Fofana. We should sign Soler. Soler's a far better player. Fofana's shit. We should go and get Soler.
Yeah, he's crap. He's crap. They had their trousers pulled down.
And just to confuse West Ham fans, we've got Soler. We should go and get Soler as well. The centre back, the centre back I've been talking about. So that would be a good. Are you there?
You see that? Can you see that?
See?
I am going to wake up and I'm going to find there's going to be some.
Congratulations.
Some of this lot
done,
has changed their
No,
mind.
don't unsubscribe.
Please don't.
And keep them going up as well.
I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Cheers, Nick. Thank you. And thank you all you that have subscribed. I do seriously, I do appreciate it. It makes all the effort. And Nick will tell you that this is not as easy as it appears to be. There's a lot to it. So I really do appreciate it. And thank you, Lucas. Thank you. And Barry as well. Thank you. I do appreciate it. It makes it all worthwhile. Onwards and upwards. There is another question that's come in. There's actually a couple more questions, Nick. Are you okay to sort of carry on for a bit longer? I ain't got sort of.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
Go on then. Okay.
Go on,
do you
mate.
think we need a new goalkeeper?
No.
Me neither. Move on.
No.
I think we're good, West Ham Irons.
I like Areola.
Yeah, I think Areola's good enough, and Fabianski will be all right for the next season.
Apparently not. Well, I don't know. I've not seen the news, but apparently he signed for AC Milan.
He's
never wanted him anyway. He's rubbish.
Yeah, he's crap. He's crap. Move on,
rubbish.
Lawrence.
Rubbish
we got better than that. Thank you, James. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, everybody in the chat that's said well done. And as I say, you're part of this, guys. So it's just as much a well done to you guys as it is to anyone else. Right, let's talk about the game now, then, Nick. Let's talk about the game a little bit more in depth. So, how good or bad a move do you think it was for the captaincy to be given to Jared Bowen, taken off of Kurt Zouma and given to Jared Bowen? Were you happy, or was there someone else that you thought should have got it?
Yeah, listen, my choice would have been Alvarez, but there is sense in giving it to Bowen because he's going to be here for his entire career. So that's our captain. If he does well, it's all going to depend on how he embraces that role. It's not an easy job. So it depends on how he embraces that role. My main issue with Jared Bowen is he's quiet. He's quiet. He does lead by example. He leads by example. He runs his arse off. He does. But he's quiet. But we might see a new side of him. You might see him evolve into a bit more of a feisty player. I'm proud of him. I'm pleased for him that he's got that. He deserves it. He deserves a captaincy. Wouldn't have been my choice if I had the choice. I would have given it to someone like Alvarez because I like the captain to be a bit of a bastard. I've got to be honest, and we do have one now. We do have one in Alvarez, but there is also that thing with Alvarez where we know he's been flashing his knickers for a move, and how long is he going to be here? So look, maybe it's a right move. I certainly can't criticise it. Far better choice than Kurt Zouma. It was a woeful captain.
God,
a woeful captain.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
So
yeah,
I think Hammer 1984. I'm going to answer a question with a question, although it's been aimed at you, Nick. But for me, the answer would be, well, what do you think? I'm like, yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I can't stand him. I've had this in the comments of my videos lately saying, give Sullivan credit. No. What people need to get through their heads is that Sullivan is not spending his money. He never puts a penny of his own money in. This is club money that the club generates. Now, historically, the reason we're in this mess, yes, David Moyes was driving it, but he was signing it all off. We've spent money terribly. We should be further along now than what we are. You know, we're getting there. We're getting there now. But if we'd have taken this path sooner, then, you know, we're a big club. We are a big club, and I think we're going to prove that this year and beyond. And Sullivan, he's fucking useless. He is, and what he's done this time with the concessions, and I know a lot of people you know, it seems like they're not fussed about that. Well, I am. I'm fussed about it massively. It's disgusting what he's done. It's despicable, and there is good news that he's reversed some of it. So partially withdrawn it back. So Hammers United and the rest of them are doing amazing work. They're managing to get them to get their own way because they're nervous, because this is going to be a movement. It's a professionally run outfit, and they are going to get their message across throughout this season, and they're not going to stop. So I do believe that it's...
I'm trying to find the right bloody button. Hang on. Come on. That's the one. You'd have thought I'd have known how to do this by now.
You're one of them people. Do you flick... Do you flick channels on the when you're watching telly as well? Do you just keep flicking through channels?
Guilty as charged, Nick. Guilty as charged.
So yeah, for me, I'm not going to give him any credit. I can't stand him. Fair enough, you can give him credit for the fact that he's allowing somebody far more capable than him to go out and spend our money, the club money. Yeah, well done for doing that, because you're fucking useless. So he's finally allowing someone else the reins that can go on and steer us in the right direction. I will never give that little fucker credit. I can't stand him. No, I still want him gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Does
And
that answer the
guys,
question?
because I believe so. But guys, if there is anybody that's watching, there's 266 watching live right now, and there might even be some people that watch it after the fact. If you haven't signed this petition, I can't stress enough how important this is. And it doesn't matter to me whether you are or aren't a West Ham fan, whether you are or aren't a football fan. You know, this is the national game. It's a working class sport, and it's with every year that rolls past, it's being taken further and further away from its roots. The fact that we've only got 16,687 signatories when we have 56,000 season ticket holders that go to every home game, I just can't get my head around it. I just think, the only thing that makes sense is that there are genuinely people out there that are oblivious to it, which I find quite strange. But okay, maybe it is that. But if there's any of you guys that are watching that you're looking at this and going, well, this is news to me, could you please do us a favor? I have just put the link to this website into the live chat. Please, please, please sign this petition. It is so, so important. I can't stress it enough.
And check your emails after you've signed a petition and authorise it. Otherwise, the vote doesn't count.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that's a thing that somebody else said. It might have even been you, Nick, to be perfectly honest. But I know someone else said that about the sort of like the hypothesis that people are going onto the petition, doing the bits and pieces, but they're then not doing that last little bit, so that they think the vote's counted, and in reality it hasn't. So that's a really important thing, guys. Just make sure that if you're doing this, you do exactly what Nick says, that you obviously have to verify that you've signed the petition, because otherwise your vote don't count. Barry, it had a mild little tremor, I would suggest, a mild tremor. But yeah, it's all good news. But okay, so let's sort of like go back to, we're going off on tangents left, right, and centre here, Nick. I mean, I told you and you told me that yeah, we're going to go off on a tangent. It's fine. So obviously with the game coming up, I guess probably we've done the lineup. We've obviously spoken about the captaincy. We've spoken about the manager. We've spoken about signings. I guess the only thing really that's left, Nick, is how do you think the game is going to unfold as a general pattern in terms of substitutions, and what do you think ultimately the final score is going to be?
The really exciting thing about this, Gatesy, is that I've got no bloody clue. I've got no clue what team's going to be put out. I've got no clue. I'm excited because for that reason alone as well. It is exciting, I'm getting bored of knowing what the same lineup was going to be every game, every week. That's not the case now. I'm excited for a change. How do I think it's going to unfold? I'm backing Lopetegui to throw Emery a curveball and get a win in his first game, based on the fact that Emery isn't going to know what he's going to do, and I think Lopetegui is going to leverage that. I think he's going to want to get off to a winning start at home. And I do think that he's been luring everyone into a false sense of security by making us look shit in pre-season. Because we haven't looked good in pre-season. I think that's what he's been doing. And I think that we're going to beat Aston Villa 3-1.
Oh, mate, I'd take that all day long. You guys in the live chat, if you've got any score predictions, please feel free to get them in. I think this is going to be something of an arm wrestle. I think that the one thing that I do think that possibly could be a slight advantage, and someone did mention it in the live chat earlier, is that neither Watkins nor Duran have played a singular minute in pre-season. So assuming one of them will play, and I would assume it's going to be Watkins out of the two, but he's not going to have had any pre-season. Yes, okay, he was involved with the England squad, but it wasn't really that much.
He's been training with them. He'll be fit. He's had a 2-week break. Same as Bowen. Bowen looked sharp, didn't he? Bowen looked sharp when he came back the other day. I think they'll be fine.
He did. But I don't know.
No,
I think a win, any way it comes, whether it's 1-0, 2-1, 3-1, I think, wow, against a team that are a
3-1.
Champions League team, that would be absolutely superb. I'm going to say, I'm going to go 2-1. I might not be as optimistic, but all day long, I will take a 2-1 win against Aston Villa. They're a quality team. They've done some good business, as have we. And I just see that hopefully the crowd that are there can spur the boys on. You know, it's the old saying, isn't it? Support the team, not the regime. You know, we're saying about the petition, which is vitally important, that these scumbags are sent packing as far as this concession malarkey is concerned. Absolutely. But the boys on the pitch, they're wearing the shirt for 90 minutes, as far as I'm concerned, 62,500 fans packed in the ground, the vast majority of them supporting the home team, need to be getting behind them from minute one to the final whistle. I hope they do. And I hope to see that a refreshing brand of football. I hope to see that when there are passages of play where it's not going well, and there will be, I don't doubt that. But when those times happen, when there's adjustments that needs to be made, we've got a manager that isn't scared to do it, that won't sit on his hands and go, I'm just going to wait until the 70th minute before I sort of start to make the changes. No. If he sees that there's a problem,
think we've got a talented manager now, a tactician that has the ability to see things and make changes. We didn't have that before. If his
100%.
plan didn't work, we lose. You know, it's as simple as that. So it's very different now. It doesn't matter if he gets it wrong at the start. He can correct it, you know?
100%. But yeah, I'm going for a 2-1. Nick's gone for a 3-1. Let me just wind back in the comments, see who's got. Johnny Rick says it's going to be a Desmond. What else we got? Michael says he agrees with you. Says 3-1, and he reckons we score early. Michael says 2-1.
I'll take
2-1 says Carl. Steve's a little bit more pessimistic and says it'll be a 2-1 loss with subs on the 85th minute. I think you've got too used to the previous incumbent, Steve. I think you've forgotten that things have moved on since then. But I take your point on board.
With 12% possession. Yeah.
If we're lucky. Colin says, Gatesy and Nick, enjoying the show. Do you think Bowen could stamp his authority as captain so far up the pitch? I've always thought one of the centre-backs or midfielders. I reckon with the crowd, we're going to be 3-0 winners.
I feel the same.
Yeah, I've always
feel the same,
been...
but he can. But I think he can. I think he can, though. I think he can. And also, look, just because he's got the armband doesn't mean that you haven't got leaders elsewhere on the pitch. Alvarez can still be the leader. He can still be the general in midfield. I think you need a leader in every part of the pitch. You need a defensive leader. You know that probably our best defensive performance last year was the Arsenal game when you had Ogbonna being the general with Mavropanos. It was Mavropanos' best game. I think you need that. You need leaders throughout the team. I think we've got that. I think you've got one in Fulkrug at the top. You've got one in Bowen. We've got leaders all throughout the pitch now. We have. It's a strong team now. Strong. It is actually strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's impressive.
Got another couple of score predictions. Mark's come in and said he reckons we're going to have sun, beer, and exciting football with a 3-1 win. What more do you want on a Saturday?
There you go. Wouldn't it be lovely for him to get off to a winning start as well? It'd be so nice, honestly. Just especially because we've got because if we beat them and then we go away to Palace and let's say we get a win against them, because they're probably going to lose Eze, aren't they? Yeah. They've already lost Elise, so we could quite conceivably beat Palace. That could be 2 wins that we could get there. We could get 2 wins, and then we play Man City. That's a free hit.
Yeah, not expecting us to get anything.
Cause a surprise.
Yeah, you never
know.
Don't know,
though, do you? You don't know. You never know.
Funny old game, someone once said. Ray also agrees with you, Nick. There seems to be a lot of people that are agreeing with you, saying it's going to be 3-1. I hope
Ray.
you're right, but either way, hopefully we just get a win by hook, by crook. And as I say, I just want to sort of like have this feeling that we're moving in the right direction when the game's finished, whatever the result, that we can at least look back and go, yeah, there's definite progression from where we was back end of last season to where we are in a short space of time, and it can only get better as time goes on.
Yeah.
And players become more ingrained in the new philosophy. It will only get better from there on in, whatever the result. So, Nick,
There's an interesting one there from Tyler, by the way.
Oh.
Hang on, Tyler's just put a question in. Who
Yep.
do you think is going to start as a striker? I think Antonio.
I'm
And
going
I
full
would
Krug.
actually start Antonio. I would actually start Antonio as well, because I want to see us go after the game early on. I know that you can use Antonio the other way around. You can bring him on as an impact sub, but I just think that just literally out the blocks, go at them, and then bring Füllkrug in, because that's typically what Füllkrug has done in his career now for the past few years for Dortmund, even for Germany. He comes off the bench. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I think it will be Antonio as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd prefer to do it the other way round. I think I'd prefer to sort of have, say, Füllkrug for about 60 minutes there or thereabouts, and then chuck Antonio on. Because I just sort of think to myself, you imagine sort of like the Villa defenders getting run ragged by Füllkrug, by Somerville, by Bowen, by Kudus. And then in the last half hour, when they're just starting to flag, on comes Antonio for the last 30 minutes, and you just say to him, just go at them, mate. You've got 30 minutes, go.
But I do think that he is the one player, even if you look at him in pre-season, Antonio's been all right. He's actually looked pretty good in pre-season. I think Antonio does deserve to start. And if that changes throughout the season, then it changes. So at the moment, because we haven't got Duran, we haven't got a replacement for Antonio. So he is the mobile striker. For me, this is for me. It's just my opinion. For me, I would start Antonio because I think he deserves to start, personally.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't dispute Antonio has had good pre-season. Don't dispute that in the slightest.
That would work. That would work. What you're saying. That's a dream. It's a dream scenario. What you're saying, to bring Antonio on against tired defenders. It is. But hopefully, we're in a situation where after 60 minutes, we've got the game won. It's 3-1. You bring Füllkrug on to basically settle things down. Proper hold-up player. He can help out defensively as well in the box because he's good in the air. Yeah, that's where because he's as good defensively as he is offensively. Füllkrug.
Michael's sort of come up with one playing both.
Yeah, well, you might see that. That's the thing. You will in games. If you're 2-1, 3-1 down, why wouldn't you throw them both on?
Yeah. Although, hang on, that's a controversial one. Ooh. Wolves channels believe he's going to them. He was linked with them before, wasn't he?
Do you know something? If we see him go, I will be excited only because that does prove that there's someone else coming in. So that's the only reason. I wouldn't be happy if we sold Antonio and didn't bring anyone else in. I really wouldn't. You can't just have one striker, and you need a different option. Ings isn't a different option. He's got no pace. He's not a bad player. He's not a bad player, Ings, but no, you need something. The player leading the line, you've either got to be Füllkrug, who's an old-fashioned centre forward, or you need a dynamic forward, and that's what Duran is, or Meridian, the player that the deal that just fell through at Chelsea, the Atletico Madrid striker. That's another one. I'd be happy with him as well.
Fair enough. Nick, I've had you on for nearly an hour and a half, and in that time we've gone from 900 and something to over 1,000, which is absolutely astonishing. I did not expect that, but all you guys that have clicked the subscribe button, thank you very much. If I could ask you one other favor, is also before you all disappear, could you just make sure you also drop a like on the stream? That would very much be appreciated. Any final thoughts from you, Nick, before we knock it on the head?
No, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I enjoyed this. It was a nice chat. I coped with it better than I thought I would because, like I said to you, I'm not feeling very well. So, yeah, I've done all right.
Need to get yourself a Lemsip and get yourself off to bed, don't you?
Nah, I'm from East London. I just battle through it. I'm all right. I don't do Lemsip.
Tough it out.
I'll see you, Mo. Yeah.
You got to go take the dogs for a walk now.
I've done it. Done it already.
Oh, you have? Oh, fair enough. All good. All good. Well, Winnie's in the front room. You'll be pleased to hear she's She's sitting there. She's poncing some food off of my daughter. So yeah, she's in fine fettle. She's in fine fettle. We'll have to meet up for a dog walk.
You sailed past. You sailed past. You got another 20. Look at that. See.
Yeah, actually,
go,
the exact.
That's brilliant.
The exact
Well done, everyone.
number, 1,000 and actually that's it. That this someone is winding me up because a minute ago it was 1,022 and it's now 1,020. So there's two people who've decided it ain't for them. Oh well, can't please everyone.
Yeah, that happens all. That happens all the time. You always get some idiots in this industry.
They're probably Millwall
Always,
fans. They're just doing it to wind me up. Or Spurs fans or something like that. No need for that. No need for that. Right, Nick, thank you very much indeed for your company, mate. It's really been a pleasure. Thanks for that.
No, my pleasure, mate. My pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Brilliant. And guys, as I say, please don't forget to like, comment on, share the stream at your socials, subscribe to the YouTube channel, although probably most of you have done that, but if there's any of you who haven't, please do. Hit the bell icon for alerts and new content. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, these things are free for you to do. Take a couple of seconds, and we thank you for your support in growing the channel further. We're going to disappear. Only one thing to say. Come on, you Irons, and please consider giving your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. We'll see you next time.
Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.